welcome back to another episode of the Rebel Talk presented by the Rebel Walk. I'm Cam Wicker, and as always, I'm here with
Zach Moreth.
And today we're going to talk a little Ole Miss sports of the recent week, a little spring football, a little bit of recruiting for football as well. That's been pretty big right now. A lot of recruits in town today as well. Practice. We'll talk a little baseball. A little bit disappointing for baseball this past weekend, and a tough matchup coming up. They're playing Memphis right now. I'll get a score check on that soon, and we'll talk a little bit of men's hoops portal talk. Two guys really just in the portal, Zach. Not too much on those guys, but we'll jump right into that with Malik Dia, junior forward out of Tennessee. Per Joe Tipton, he is scheduled to come visit Ole Miss on April 12th. 27th best player in the transfer portal. He'll be the first to visit campus. I believe Jordan Ivy Curry had an in-home visit with Beard, and today, if you didn't see that, he committed to Virginia Tech. Deal was a three-star out of high school. He averaged about 16 points, 6 boards, and an assist, and I think he had about a block last season. I was at Belmont he was at.
Yeah.
And so he entered his name in the draft combine. He entered his name in the portal, so we'll have to see what he does there with the draft combine. But obviously, taking the visit is a big step for him coming to Ole Miss if we want to get him. Not a lot of guys come to visits this early, I guess, in the portal process, especially with not really being able to, I guess, jump in the portal right now because school is still going on. But really, I think Chris Beard's in a good position to get Malik Dia.
Yeah, 100%, Cam. And, he's visiting the weekend of Groveville, Mississippi State weekend. Oxford's going to be packed. So it's a good time for him to be here. And then additionally, he's a great player. He's 6'10". He's throwing up 17 points per game, 6 rebounds. Ole Miss needs a rebounder. Everyone saw it last year. They struggled severely, even though they had a 7'5" and a 7-foot player, whatever. But he's also receiving interest from schools like UConn, Indiana, Florida, Wisconsin, just elite basketball programs. So it's going to be tough to get him. But like you said, he's coming to Oxford. He's official visiting. So Chris Beard's definitely in a good spot there.
Yeah, like you said, Ole Miss team needs rebounding. He's a big guy, 6'6", 6'9". Yeah. So you bring back Musa, you bring Ball in, and you get a guy like Dia. You get a lot of rebounds, and improve that rebounding category for Ole Miss, which they struggled in last year. Dia started his career at Vanderbilt, didn't play too much there. Went to Belmont. Obviously, he's in the portal. He's a pretty big name now. We'll see where that goes. Another guy that Coach Beard is looking at is Noah Reynolds, Green Bay transfer, 6'3" guard. He's going to take an official visit to Ole Miss pretty soon in April. He averaged 15 points a game as a sophomore at Wyoming before transferring to Green Bay. Averaged 20 a game this past year at Green Bay, along with 5 assists. He's pretty good. I think he's pretty quick off the dribble. He gets to the rim pretty smooth. Not the greatest shooter, but lefty release, and he's a better shooter off the dribble than he is catch and shoot. But he's a really good passer, and that's what this team needs is a more traditional point guard. Yeah, Juju Murray last year, he didn't do as much as you would have wanted to at him the point guard role, but he did as much as you could ask for someone who hadn't really played point guard traditionally in the past. So if you get a guy like Reynolds on this visit and show him around Oxford, maybe convince him to commit here, that's another piece you can add to that guard room in Oxford.
Yeah, absolutely, Cam. And again, I think if you can take some of the pressure off Juju and give it to a guy like Reynolds who's played the traditional point guard role, you're going to see better results from shooting, from basically everything, preserve his energy a little more. And then as we saw last year, Chris Beard, he's very good at developing shooters, adding more points to guys who have the ability to score. So if you get Reynolds in the system here, get him to work with Beard and the staff, I think that would be a great fit. Again, he's 6'3", so good lengthy body defensively. He can set up the offense offensively. So everything you need right there from a Division I transfer player.
Absolutely. And just keep an eye out for transfer portal news for men's basketball. It's going to pick up soon, as long with April and May and school ending in May for a lot of schools. So that's going to pick up portal people entering the portal, people committing to certain schools and coming to campus finally. So keep an eye out for Ole Miss portal talk for men's basketball. Hopping into some baseball, Ole Miss versus Memphis right now. I believe it was 9-4. It is 9-4.
Yep.
Top of the 8th. Ole Miss at bat right now. Kentucky this weekend didn't look great. Zach, if you want to talk about that, you were there this weekend.
Yeah, it was rough, Cam. Swayze was packed out every single day. Shout out to the fans for just continuing to show up, even in rough patches like this. But Friday night, the game was there. Ole Miss lost 5-3, but I believe the bases were loaded in the bottom of the ninth. Ole Miss had chances, several opportunities throughout the game. They did not hit well with runners in scoring position. And I thought the bullpen and Riley Maddox did a really good job. Again, another problem all weekend was making errors, and that came back to bite them in every single game, to be honest with you. Saturday, they lost 17-9. Everyone was excited because it was Liam Doyle day. Doyle didn't have his best stuff. Kentucky was hitting too. They were hitting the ball all over the yard. And then to conclude things, on Easter Sunday, Kentucky won 15-1, Cam. Gunnar Dennis was unable to finish a complete inning, and the offense was just non-existent, which is sad because this team showed a lot of promise against South Carolina. They went into Knoxville. We knew they probably weren't going to win the series, but they still stole one. And then you come back here, you have some momentum rolling from a nice midweek win, and it just really doesn't go anywhere. So it's unfortunate, and to see that carrying into tonight is just not a good sign for a team going to play the number one team in America in Fayetteville on Thursday night. So.
Absolutely. Like you said, they're going to play the number one team in America in Arkansas and Fayetteville on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And really coming into this game, watching them play Memphis tonight, they were started off pretty well. They were going back and forth with runs, but here late in the game, it's kind of just the offense is kind of coming in a lull spot really late in the game. That's kind of what we've seen against Kentucky.
Yes.
In moments where you thought maybe you could add some runs or get some insurance runs, it just didn't. You couldn't. I mean, you didn't have guys step up and make those plays and get those hits. But it's unfortunate for Ole Miss that you're 3-6 now in the SEC. But it's not the end of the world. You still got a long season ahead, tough season ahead. I mean, you got ranked opponents. Seems like every other week. I think there's like 4 out of the next 5 are ranked for the next Ole Miss opponent, something crazy like that. So it's definitely going to be tough this weekend in Fayetteville. But I think. If you're Ole Miss, you just got to know if you're the Ole Miss players, the Ole Miss baseball team, you just got to know that the Ole Miss fans are going to continue to back you. Like you said, the fans showed up this weekend, and you just got to go out there and prove everybody wrong. Everyone thinks you're going to lose this weekend. Everyone thinks you're probably going to get swept this weekend. Go out there and prove everybody wrong. Go win a game. Go win the series, and get yourself back on the map and heading into a long season and try to get yourself back in Hoover and into the playoffs to battle for Omaha like you did a couple years ago.
Exactly, Cam. And another weird thing, LSU baseball, who also won the national championship, struggling, man. Really strange. You saw State.
They lost to Southern today?
Yep.
Or yesterday? Yeah.
Southern, not Southern Miss or Southern Methodist.
Southern Louisiana.
Yeah. So really, really strange. Just from State to us to LSU. Yeah, really weird, man.
And Coach Bianco changed the pitching rotation. We'll see Maddox on Thursday. This game starts, I think, 6 o'clock. And then we'll see Liam Doyle on Friday. I think that's at 6:30. And then still to be determined on Saturday. I think that game's at 2 p.m. So we'll see how that shapes up for Mike Bianco and the pitching staff. But we obviously know the bullpen pretty well stacked in Oxford. So we'll see if they maybe do like a little round robin on Sunday where you kind of just throw guys in for 2 innings, 3 innings, and see how that works.
100%. And we talked about it before the pod, Cam. Thursday, interesting decision to throw Maddox. You're facing the best pitcher in the country, so I don't know if you really have the best chance there. Would you want to move Maddox to Friday, leave Doyle for Saturday? I don't know. I don't make the decisions, but that's up to you guys to speculate. The decision's in, so I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely. Hagen Smith is going to be a tough go around on Thursday night. Probably going to be top 5 draft pick. I don't know exactly what he's at on mock drafts right now, but he's pretty insane. So we'll see. We'll have to see how that series goes this weekend.
Yeah.
Moving on into a little bit of spring football. We'll talk about some recruits. I wanted to show you guys Akylin Dear, 4-star committed now to Ole Miss, running back out of Quitman, Mississippi. Mississippi native. So we're gonna show you guys a little bit some huddle highlights of Dear here. Really just breaking him down, watching these highlights before the video, before getting on this podcast. Really, I just wanted to say that this guy's really fast, and he makes a lot of plays that don't necessarily look like should be made. He makes a lot of plays where he gets out in space and he makes a couple guys miss, and it looks crazy. Here he is right here. This is one of those plays where he's just going to break off. You'll see him at the end there, showing the breakaway speed. I think he has listed about
Oh my
4.40 on his huddle
gosh.
highlights, which you can't take too much into the 4.40s for high school guys. Obviously, most of them are hand times, but
Yeah,
still, a lot of these guys go to camps, especially the higher rated guys, and they go to like high profile camps. So I'm sure Deer's
sure.
probably had some more, I guess, scouts of higher profiles time him, and I'm sure the 4.4 time isn't far off of what he is. Here he is on like a little sweep play, finding the edge. You see Ole Miss do this a lot, kind of got with guys like Bentley get
Yeah.
to the edge, and then just the breakaway speed from Deer
Damn.
there. Takes it to the house. This next play is what I really like here. This play kind of caught my eye from the spot. So you get the handoff here, and if you look right here, he's right around here somewhere. You see all the white jerseys, all the defenders. There's another defender flying in right here, and watch. He just makes everybody miss. He makes everybody miss, and he takes us to the house. I think he's an unbelievable back. I think he's got really good speed. I think Kevin Smith is going to have a field day with him, throwing the ball to him,
Oh yeah.
much less just handing the ball to him. Obviously, you continue to see the breakaway speed from him there, but I believe he's just an unbelievable talent, and I'm happy that he's committed to Ole Miss.
Yeah, Cam. This is a guy who could realistically reclass if he wanted to come to Ole Miss right now and start playing because, as we all know, with the running back situation, we need backs. And Akylin Dear is 6 foot, 210 pounds as an incoming senior in high school, and he moves like that. He has power, he has speed, he has everything you want in a running back. I believe on 3 and 247 Sports, he's won the first and second best running back in the country. So I would expect that just to continue to go up with his rating. I will probably be one across every major platform, and he'll probably get his 5th star in his senior year too. And so look for him to be an early enroll next year, and I think he will start the second he gets to Ole Miss, similarly to Quinshon Judkins.
Absolutely, and like you've seen guys like Austin Simmons, and I mean when Austin Simmons first committed, no one really thought I guess he was going to reclassify. I mean he was coming. I mean was he going into his junior year of high school, and
Yeah.
then he reclassifies, and everyone finds out his GPA and how really good he is, and it made sense. And you see a guy like Deer, and we see the highlights, and obviously if he wants to reclassify, he could probably do so depending on how
Yeah.
that really works. I'm not sure what all goes into that, but obviously he's got the talent. But like you said, he'll probably be an early enrollee if not, and we'll see him in Oxford very soon. Speaking of some other recruits who were at the facility today, Corey Amos also committed 4-star linebacker. Talked about before the pod. He kind of has that Perkins build. That's that
Yeah.
Suntrain Perkins build where you're kind of going to play that outside linebacker, be out in space a little bit, maybe chase down a quarterback of the Jalen
Yeah.
Milroe type, and just really just be a freak of nature out there. And that's what Corey Amos seems like he's going to be for Ole Miss. I think seeing him today. Sorry, my AirPod fell out. seeing him today, really seeing him up close in person, really just kind of showed me how big he was, 6'3",
Oh
200
yeah.
pounds. And
That's
just a
awesome.
big guy. Also, Winston Watkins, slot receiver. He had nice hands, plays for IMG Academy. That's all I really got to say about him. Plays for IMG Academy. That's all you really need to know about these guys.
He's
I
legit,
believe
man.
he's another 4-star, smaller receiver, kind of that Caden Lee, Jordan Watkins build.
Yeah.
Crazy, his last name's Watkins as well. Also, Dwayne Morris, 3-star running back. Talked about it before the podcast. Crazy stats for him. 2,600 all-purpose yards as a junior. I think he had like 500 something yards passing and like
Yeah.
40 touchdowns almost. It's fun to watch guys. It's cool to see guys like that get recruited, even though they're not like 4 or 5-star. Because just the crazy
Right.
stats out of high school and the
It's
ability.
unreal.
They have that ability. Especially, I mean, we've seen it in the past with guys like Isaiah Woolard, Matt Jones, who are here at Ole Miss,
Yes.
who had crazy high school careers and who are continued to be in at least the rotation here at Ole Miss.
Right. And then just to finish off that here, Cam, Jayrion Campbell was also in town. He's in the 2026 class, but another running back. He's 5'11", 190, very advanced body, as you can tell by his height and weight. He has offers from A&M, Tennessee, and Auburn. So, again, he's going to play football in the SEC. Where, I guess we'll see, but he's going to be a major target, similar to Akylin Dear. out of that 2026 class. But it's just exciting to see all these different players come into Ole Miss twice a week, Cam. Twice a week you have even three times if you're counting Saturday. You have some of the best talent in America visiting Ole Miss and just seeing what is going on here. If you told a fan that a couple years ago, it's unbelievable. So really just credit to Lane Kiffin and what he's put together. And that'll transition us right into our next point, Cam, the hiring of Mike Williams. Kiffin, again, just attacking this idea of hiring an elite personnel staff. Williams has 20-year of NFL personnel experience. Let's see here, including pro personnel director for the 49ers, vice president of personnel for the Rams. These are some very serious people here at Oxford involved in this program, and you're going to see that translate directly. Lane talked about in his press conference today. They're always evaluating. They're evaluating players on their team. They're evaluating transfer portal recruits. They're evaluating high school prospects. And that's exactly what you need in today's age, because you want to invest your NIL money to the best of your ability. And with a guy like Williams, a guy like Alex Brown from SMU, all these personnel guys they're going to make Lane's life easier, and they're going to make Ole Miss football an even better product.
Absolutely. And like these personnel, these analysts that come in, like you said, they're just going to make everything better. You know, Kiffin with the analytics, it's always about the analytics. And that's what these analysts do. They get you analytics. They show you these things that they see from a different perspective and give them to the coaches to implement. And I think Kiffin's like we talked about before, and like you made the take before, this looks like a prime era kind of Nick Saban staff, not to almost the extent of Nick Saban. You can't really compare anybody to him.
Of course.
But like we talked about before, just the I guess experience within this coaching staff. Kiffin talked about it today in his presser. They go for guys who have NFL backgrounds a lot of the times, guys who have backgrounds at Power 5 programs. And we've seen that with guys like hiring of George McDonald. Caden Lee talked about him today, how he kind of immediately gelled with the receivers as soon as he comes in, which is hard to do when you have a really talented room. You got guys like Trey Harris who came back, Jordan Watkins, Juice Wells came in. And if someone like George McDonald of a high caliber, you have to, I guess, gain the respect of other high caliber players. And I think he's done a really good job of that in the eyes of Caden Lee, the receiver who's kind of emerged in that receiving room. And then you got guys like Joe Cox, who Kiffin bragged on as well today, just a brilliant mind for football, just a really high IQ for the game. And that's kind of guys that Kiffin likes to bring in, like Charlie Wise, like Pete Golden, the kind of gurus that you want to see coaching these teams and getting these guys ready for the next level.
100%. And going in even further into that, you look at Princely's press conference last week, he's throwing out the name Lou Spanos, who's listed as a player analyst on the staff, yet he's leading Princely and he's showing him, all right, Princely, you come here in coverage, you come here and on this rush, you go through this gap. Like, these guys are very involved, and this is one of the best staffs in the country, simply put.
Yeah, obviously you see the coaches kind of deal with the players at practice, and you can kind of put faces to names if you kind of know some of the guys like Kevin Smith, like George McDonald, like John Garrison. But obviously you see a lot of the analysts out there too, and you don't really know who they are because maybe you haven't seen pictures of them or seen their faces. But those are those guys. Those are those assistants. Those are those analysts who are kind of getting in there with the players when the position coach can't work with certain players. And they're learning from the best of the best, like you said, NFL analysts, NFL backgrounds, Power 5 backgrounds. And that's what Kiffin's trying to build here. And I believe today he said in his opener of the press conference that this team seems like they know that you're supposed to win now. That, like, with the talent they have, they know they're supposed to be good. And I believe he talked about the defense looked as good as they have been this spring, this past Saturday. Really just building towards that Grove Bowl. And I think I said it in my article today on the practice report. I think this defense, really this whole team, but I think this defense as a whole is going to prove a point in the spring game that they're a lot more talented. Well, people know that they're talented, that we're going to prove that they have that gel together still. Because, I mean, another thing Kiffin talked about today was Pete Golden kind of being happy that Pete Golden's already in year 2 in this system because of all the talent that brought in. So it's kind of easier for guys to pick up, especially with you got some returners on that defensive line. And pretty much in every room you have returners. So I think if you're Kiffin, you're in a good spot right now, and it's only up right now for Ole Miss.
100%. And again, just going back on just Lane's intelligence, really, he talked about how today they're already taking into consideration they might have to play maybe even 4 playoff games. I'm not sure the schedule there, but they're not hitting, they're not going hard right now. They're trying to preserve these players' bodies to make sure that when time comes around December, if Ole Miss happens to make the playoffs, which they very well should, that they're ready to go, Cam. They're not suffering injuries. They're not feeling tired. Ole Miss has 2 bye weeks, which I think is fantastic in this season. But these boys are going to be ready to go. And again, with working with a staff like this every single day, it's going to be the best Ole Miss football team in I don't know how long. So,
yeah, I mean, I know it on the paper maybe it doesn't look as tough for the Ole Miss football team, but I mean, 4 games, first 4 non-conference games are the first 4 games of the season. That's your non-conference schedule, and then after that, it's all SEC play.
yeah,
So
right.
it's going to be a tough stretch. 8 SEC games in a row. I believe 2 of those are back-to-back road games, maybe a bye week in between there. But still, it's going to be a tough stretch of games for that Ole Miss team. Wanted to talk a little bit about the offensive line too. I know today, maybe on Saturday too, Zach, I know we talked about Bulow playing right tackle. He primarily played guard at Washington. Really haven't seen him play right tackle until I guess just now in the recent couple of practices, but it makes sense. I mean, guy's 6'8", 315, 320 pounds. He has the size to play on the outside, and it makes sense right now, especially with Pettis being kind of, I guess, nursing the injury still. He's out there, Pettis is, but it just doesn't seem like he's kind of, I guess, playing as much, kind of more just being out there getting the feel of the jersey and the helmet on him, and I guess maybe doing some workouts while in the pads to get used to the pads. But it seems like guys like Bulow are taking over that right tackle spot just for now until Pettis can get healthy. Which the other Washington guard, Kalepo, we see him at left guard. Jeremy James, seen him back at right guard. I wanted to talk about Preston Cushman, seeing him at center today along with Bryson Sanders and Caleb Warren like we've seen in the past. Reese McIntyre as well. Didn't see a lot of Diego Pounds today. Saw a lot of Jaden Williams. I think Pounds may be kind of nursing some things as well.
I think so.
But Jaden Williams was out there today. He looks solid. And as far as the other guys on the offensive line, the pass catchers on the offensive line, Daquan Wright kind of stood out to me today. He kind of looks really like a more of a route running tight end. I know Priest Corn kind of does it all.
For sure.
But Daquan Wright, he's a big guy, and he runs routes really well. He kind of looks like he's kind of got maybe the most speed out of all the tight ends. And I think that's going to be elite to use if you're Jackson Dart, especially if you got a guy like Caden Priestcorn who can block and catch passes. If you got a guy like Daquan Wright who can run the seam and score a touchdown over the top of defenders, that's pretty important too.
Yeah, you said it, Cam. And I think Wright on a much smaller scale is kind of going to be who they thought Michael Trigg was supposed to be. You know, Trigg was supposed to come in here and exploit defenses all over the middle of the field, catch all these crazy touchdown passes. I don't think Wright will be to that extent, to the height that Trigg was supposed to be, but I think he's going to be more productive. I'll tell you that much. So continue to let him fly under the radar, let Priestcorn get the headlines, this and that. But I think when the boys step on the field right, he's going to be a big time third down target. You can put Priestcorn in on third down in the red zone, kind of that flex receiver spot. He's going to play a very big part in this offense.
Absolutely. I think the running back room, kind of another thing to talk about for the spring. Really, Henry Parrish, kind of, I guess, the big topic there. Where is he going to go? Is he going to come back to Ole Miss like he was his freshman year when in the Matt Corral era with alongside Jaron Ely and Snoop Connor? And he can come be another third piece to our running back room alongside Logan Diggs and Bentley. So I think if you're Ole Miss, you got to feel comfortable where you're at with Henry Parrish. But obviously you have KJ Briscano right now, who's probably going to be the guy who shows out in the spring game, turns some heads.
Yes.
Maybe if you haven't seen him or if you haven't seen highlights of him, haven't been able to see him in person. He's a big guy. He's going to catch passes out of the backfield as well. And I believe with his size, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a good blocker too. I haven't really seen much of that with the guys not hitting as much in our viewings. But I believe with his size, it's kind of hard to believe if he's not a good blocker. You know what I mean? So if for the running back room and specifically, obviously, Dear with the commitment was great, but a lot to, I guess, question for the running back room for Ole Miss right now.
For sure. And just expanding on the Riscano stuff, he's basically a taller version of Judkins on paper. and he weighs like the same. So to me, that's a fantastic sign, Cam.
Absolutely. Talking about Kiffin going into more on the defensive line dominating. I know today I kind of seen that package that I talked about, and I think an article already talked about it too. I'm not sure, but I know Xavier Harris, Josh Harris, and Walter Nolan were all kind of beside each other today on that defensive line. I don't know if that was a package they were running, but they were all kind of like just standing there next to each other. They weren't really like running plays, kind of just like walking through some things. But if that's a goal line package, I kind of feel sorry for defenses or running backs that have to run into that, quarterbacks who have to run into that. Those are some big guys. That's probably close. That's probably over 1,000 pounds just between those three guys. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of force. I think that's something to look forward to if you're Ole Miss. If you're Ole Miss fans, is just that freakishly athletic D line that you have. Just to throw some more names out there, Cam Franklin looked really good today. He kind of, like I've said in the past, he looks, I guess, like he fits in on that defensive line. Looks like he could be an SEC defensive lineman right now. And like you said with Princely Umamielen, he's going to be a stud. He's going to be outstanding. I think the rest of that defensive line speaks for themselves. But really excited to see what they're going to do, especially in the spring game.
And don't forget, Will Eccles, who was the best player in Ole Miss's high school class, is still coming this summer, and he's going to fit right in that rotation of Xavier, Josh, and Walter Nolan. So,
absolutely, we'll see in a couple more guys. I'm not sure which, other than Will Eccles, I'm not sure what other guys aren't here yet, but you'll probably see some more of those guys in the fall. Anything else you have to add on spring football, Zach?
That's all I got, brother.
Keep an eye out for the April 13th Grove Bowl. Anything else on that, we'll update you guys as that gets closer. Sure. That's under 2 weeks away now. I believe that's on the same Saturday as Ole Miss will play Mississippi State. I believe they're at separate times. So if you're in town, you'll be able to go to both of those if you want. Very anticipated season coming up for the Ole Miss football team. So just keep an eye out for more updates on that team, and specifically some other things I wanted to talk about before into the portal. Ole Miss women's basketball point guard Zakiya Stevenson entered the transfer portal. Bit shocking, I guess, especially with Maria Avalish entering the portal earlier, I think last week. So it's kind of shocking to see both of those girls enter the portal. I mean, I guess it makes sense. KK Deans is going to run the point guard role next year. Kenny Todd Williams is probably going to continue to be a ball handler as well. And, I mean, who knows who is going to go get in the portal. We haven't really heard any names thrown around yet, but obviously she's probably going to do it. Seems like that's the theme at Ole Miss is go get people in the portal. Even Mike Bianco did that this offseason. So I think we're going to see probably Coach Yo go get someone in the portal. Also, Matt Corral, former Ole Miss quarterback, played his first game in the newly merged USFL, XFL. Now they call it the UFL. He plays for the Birmingham Stallions. I believe they won maybe 27-13. I don't remember the exact score, but he threw for over 200 yards with a touchdown. And I believe he came out the game at one point, not sure why, but he came back in. He looked solid. I believe he only had like 9 incompletions. They didn't let him throw too much. But one thing he did not show was the running ability that he used to show at Ole Miss, which we know he had some couple of injuries on that ankle over the recent years, so probably trying not to re-injure that. But I'd look for Matt Corral to probably get some interest for NFL training camps in the months to come, as long as he continues to play well in the UFL. I mean, this is a guy who was drafted into the NFL, and was probably a Heisman dark horse at one point during that crazy senior season he had. So I believe if he has a really good season, he'll get an NFL offer somewhere, at least to go to a training camp, join a practice squad or something for a little while until he can figure it out what he wants to do at that next level.
He should, Cam. That's kind of the whole point of this league for guys like Corral and guys looking to get back in the NFL, just to get their feet wet and prove who they can be. And I think Matt's going to continue to do it. We saw it at Ole Miss. We saw it flashes of it last week, and I'm looking forward to watching him play again.
Absolutely. I think that's all we got for you guys today. Make sure to keep an eye out for all Ole Miss sports updates at therebelwalk.com for all your Ole Miss sports needs.